Peace and blessings, sisters and brothers. It's your soldier for change, Malik Washington with the San Francisco Bayview National Black newspaper. And I'm happy to be here today with the president of the Black Student Union from the University of San Francisco, Brianna Johnson. And I'm also here with our interim editor, Nube Brown. Today we're going to be talking about the recent update concerning the noose incident at the University of San Francisco.
So I am a psychology major with a minor in African American Studies and Sociology. I think I, not only felt a certain sense of numbness, just because I feel like instances of anti-Black racism at USF are so constant that it's like when something happens, I have trouble feeling shocked, but at the same time, something as violent as a noose, it was just like a mixture of just feeling like, okay, this is so constant that I'm not surprised, but at the same time, this just feels like a threat. It feels like someone did this knowing that they would have no repercussions for what they did. They knew that this was something that was okay at USF.
The word that you've used a couple of times is constant. So this just sounds like, can you suss out some more? Let's unpack this. It sounds like a constant abuse of your human rights on campus.
Yeah, I think, when reflecting upon my experience at USF, I think, just at first touching on what draws so many Black students to USF, which is just this emphasis on diversity and inclusion. When we were recruited, everyone is like, we've won so many awards for diversity in the last 5 years. This is a space where you'll feel safe and comfortable and welcome. And I think that we really need to dissect that actual term, diversity and inclusion, and just talk about how much of it is just optics. At USF, we only have about 6% of Black people, but somehow they're ranked the most diverse university in the nation, which is a whole different conversation. But my biggest thing is if you're going to do all of these drives to bring more Black people in, more people of color in, then why aren't you putting things in place so when they get there that they're actually comfortable? Because we may see significantly more Black people on campus now, but the feelings that we have now on that campus are the same as the feelings as the people that have had, when the BSU was founded. How much of it is really we care about diversity, we care about US people, and how much of it is just statistics, a picture on a brochure and things like that. But even diving into things that happened at USF, this isn't the first incident with the noose in the last 5 years. The first incident had a very different outcome where, they basically said that it wasn't malicious intent and, to move on basically. And then now, even a year ago, someone wrote the N-word on a campus building. They tried to cover it up. Nothing happened. They said they didn't know who it was. There are cameras everywhere. We have teachers that are consistently calling folks the N-word, saying the N-word, refusing to stop saying it. We have folks within nursing departments, which at USF is notoriously racist, who are saying things about how we shouldn't care about Black folks that are killed by police, and just really emphasizing that piece that they are not going to be equitable towards Black folks when they are in the nursing career. So I think that that's something that has been consistent in this last year, but consistent, in USF's creation of the BSU continuously. My biggest issue is not even these events on their own, but more so the line of events, the pattern, how consistent they are.
Yes, that pattern of upholding the system of racism. What I really want to ask you is, you're trying to be a student on the campus. You and your fellow students you're young, you're trying to live your lives, you're trying to empower yourselves and grow and learn. How is this affecting just your daily life? I mean, you're trying to be a student. Instead, you have to be a student activist.
I think it is very difficult to learn, to do work, to continue to be present in spaces when you're in a hostile environment, point blank period. For me personally, it's even more alarming to be someone that's a psychology major with a sociology minor, and to go to class and everyone pretends like it doesn't exist, or for professors to kind of brush over it and not really show any genuine care towards the situation or even students. So I think overall, in this last week, I've had such a hard time being able to, dedicate time to school, time to my personal life, time to this situation, that it's at the point where it's all intertwined, And I think, while this situation may not be as wide scale, as national or anything like that, I think I do really understand organizers' fatigue, and really just not really having that separation between like your work life, your personal life, and just everything just at this point completely intertwined. It not only hurts to be in that hostile environment, but it hurts even more to realize that your professors really don't care. They don't care about the situation, they don't care about you. And, it just makes me think, like, how are you teaching these subjects and you really just don't care? I haven't had any professors actually check in on me. And at USF, like, our only real resources are going to be like the BASE program, which is a program that is specific for Black students. But, anyone outside of that just has not shown a genuine care for us at all.
Would it be safe to say then that we're being tolerant of a system that is making money off of the backs of their students that they're not listening to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And of course, I'm very pointed about that question because I'm just going to say that, when people talk about, this is a vestige of slavery. The 13th Amendment said there's an exception clause, as we know. And people talk, and it says that if you are convicted of a crime, you are a slave of the state. And we talk about the school to prison pipeline, right? And so this is happening here, but you alluded to the fact that maybe this is just happening here. This is happening everywhere. And you are being asked, as your fellow students, to just, like you said, deal with it. This is a human rights issue. Every day that you are on that campus and not able to feel safe, to feel cared for, to be treated with dignity and respect is a violation of your human and civil rights, in my view. And this is happening all over the country.
At USF before, it was a little bit easier for me personally just because I had those in-person spaces like BSU. I had folks living on the floor that looked like me, that identified with me, and I was able to create kind of like a hub of like safety, in my own personal life. But I think just transitioning into this virtual world, I don't know, like I have never been more ready to get out of USF than I am now. And it isn't even because of this one incident of the noose, it's just because of the pattern. And I think now, having literally no real space to actually be in community with folks, to actually, like just process things together. Like, yes, we have BSU virtually, yes, we have all these spaces virtually, but it just is not the same. I don't know, there's just a certain level of just like, not only like anxiety, but, depression that kind of comes with knowing that you have to continuously go into this space where you are not protected, where you are not safe. Because that's the way that, society deems as like elevation, And I think I've also felt so much pressure, this being my senior year, and me knowing that I'm not happy in this space, that I don't feel safe, that I don't feel protected, but still just like that sense of responsibility to stay there, to finish it out, to keep going, to, just to finish it.
Continually subject yourself to this so that you can get something out of your life.
Exactly. And it's at the point where, I have no positive feelings like associated with the university anymore. I log on to class and it's just a certain level of like, this again, or what's going to be said that's going to make me uncomfortable, or what's going to be said that's violent, what isn't the professor going to check, And the only things that have held me together all of these 4 years has been just like my experience within the Black Student Union, and then also my experience within BASE. And someone said to me the other day, like, I really admire your desire to fight for this and to not just walk out and be like, screw this, I don't want to deal with it, this is harmful. And, I had to be honest because, every day I go between, do I really just want to get out of here, and just feel better and be surrounded by people that I feel like appreciate me, or do I want to be in this space and fight for what's right and fight and continue? And I think that it's a very difficult thing to come to terms with, and it's a very difficult like fight between the two of those because, on one hand I do want things to improve, But on the other hand, I can recognize the ways in which this situation, alone has negatively affected me, not only in terms of mental health, not only in terms of like me being able to be present in spaces that I'm supposed to be present in. To be honest with you, I really don't know. Personally, I've had a very tough week. I don't think that I've gotten to the point to actually process it on my own, because my immediate response to things are typically like, okay, what needs to happen? What needs to be written? What needs to come next? We have healing spaces within like the Black network there and things like that, but as someone that's supposed to be a leader, as someone that's supposed to be an advocate for others, I am just having a hard time kind of getting to that personal space, just because I need to advance this. I need to get through this for other people, and I recognize the problems with that, but
right? This is the kind of thing that makes people vulnerable to the carceral system. Period. We're talking our young people. This is just white pathology, is really what's going on here, and they're assaulting you with this every day, and you're just supposed to get over it. This is what the adults in the room are doing to our youth. A lot of these students, yes, they can take some solace in the work that you're doing. That's not your job, though. And it's beautiful that you're doing it, and we're going to commend you, and we're going to support you. We know that this is happening within our educational, academic institutions. This is happening everywhere. What's happening in one place? Because this is the capitalist, white pathology America. And people are being paid and being held unaccountable for these continued assaults on you. And our students, our young people, these are the people in our community. These are the people that we say we want to bring the future forward. But under these circumstances, we have to be intolerant of that. The adults in the room need to get behind making sure that you all are taken care of. These are the same kinds of issues that we talk about when we're talking about prisoners inside. There should not be a correlation here. You're sacrificing your personal well-being. You shouldn't have to make that choice. It's great that you can be mobilized and fight for a cause, and we support you. That's fantastic. You deserve to be a student, and an empowered student. And that this university is forcing that choice onto you and to your fellow students, that is not only harming you all, though, but it is harm to the humanity of the people that are allowing it.
I first just want to give an update to the community that the person who hung the noose was expelled today. I say that with a sense of, obviously, excitement, but at the same time, just really thinking about, like you were saying, the humanity of others, and just the fact that, he may be expelled, but I'm sure that hasn't changed his mind. That hasn't changed the way that what he believes. It hasn't changed, the actions that he'll take in the future. More importantly, I also want to just say that I am 100% sure that USF would not have handled this situation in the same way had there not been so much negative media attention. Very similar things happened in the last year, and they have literally have just said, oh well, like, get over it. And I think I also want to take a moment to also say, like, even in the letter that they sent to us that said that he was going to be expelled, they made sure to say that intention versus impact are very different, and that he's expelled because of his impact. That it is very dangerous to continuously assume that when people make attacks on the Black community, that their intention was something else. USF conducts these investigations where they basically just ask the person, did you mean to do this or did you not? And of course the person is going to say that they didn't. Yes, I'm happy that he's been expelled, but am I happy with the way that they handled it? No. Am I happy with what will probably happen in the future? No. Do I feel like there's been any solutions? No. Because at the end of the day, someone did something racist towards us. The university still won't acknowledge that it was inherently racist, but they're saying, oh, because of impact, we're going to let him go.
Thank you, Brianna. I appreciate it. Okay, yeah, this is Nube Brown of the San Francisco Bayview National Black newspaper, and we're so happy to be able to bring this voice of truth and strength.